So if you do want to watch this segment, you can do that on Facebook on 102.7 WMOM and Hot Country Hits 99.9. You can also listen to it on your smart devices, your Amazon Alexa, your Google Home, and of course over the frequency. So good morning to our guest this morning, and we want to chat with you're retired now. So is there an official title, by the way, Eric Erwin, that we should say at this point?
Just call me Eric.
Okay,
I'm
that
fine
works.
with that.
I love it. Well, thanks for coming in, Eric Erwin, the former president of FloraCraft, with us this morning. Retirement as of Friday of last week, and we're going to be talking with the torchbearer now here in a moment. Steve Carlson, he is in the studio with us. Steve, good morning to you, and thanks for coming in.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. And Eric, you mentioned before we went on the air that you got a chance to sleep in, and then you said the time, 7:30. That's not sleeping in, is it?
Well, again, thank you, Chris, for having us. But I think the last 7 years, I've gotten up about 4 o'clock every morning. Right. So this is definitely sleeping.
Well, good for you, and appreciate you coming in this morning. We want to talk a little bit about your legacy, what you've achieved over the last since 2017, right? You were at FloraCraft as president.
2016, actually.
2016, yeah. Okay, and what you're so much proud of when you did decide, hey, this is going to be my last year. And there is a lot of achievements. You've expanded it's about 200,000 square feet more at FloraCraft now. And one of the things that I read, which I would love to dive into, is the vertical manufacturing. Right? It's more of, and at least from what I've understood, is that instead of farming out something to this manufacturing process, you really wanted everything to be built and manufactured as much as possible within the walls there at FloraCraft, right?
That's correct, Chris. I'll tell you, this 7 years has been a tremendous honor and privilege for me. I'd been very aware of FloraCraft's excellent reputation, having been in the industry for the last 40 years. What I didn't realize when I got here is what an incredible amount of talent existed within the walls of FloraCraft. People like Steve, who'd been here before I got here, and a number of other top-level executives were just in the right position to sort of take over the leadership of the business. And I had told the board at the time, give me 5 to 7 years and we'll put together a wonderful talent map. We'll build a succession plan that makes sense. We'll innovate the company, and we'll make sure that it's the number one brand in DIY floral crafting in the world. And we've accomplished all of those things. To the vertical integration issue, we used to buy products and then fabricate them and package them here in Ludington. Today we manufacture the product and fabricate and package and distribute all across the country. So we're very proud of what we've done. I'm very proud of this team. It has been one of the great honors of my life.
And when you're leading 200 plus employees at the location here in Ludington, that's incredible. What was the biggest challenge? What was the hardest part of your job? And Steve, you are listening over there, right? And prepared for this, hopefully. But Eric, what is the challenge?
Well, there's the challenge of innovation is great, and to do that from a small western Michigan city here in the United States is always been a challenge. So we've been able to recruit talent to come here. We've been able to elevate talent that is already here and drive a sense of creativity and innovation across our business. What we did in terms of delivering the first post-consumer plastic foam to the market was a truly disrupting, fabulous marketing exercise. It took a lot of people to do that. What we've been able to build out in terms of our digital presence, both our e-commerce as well as our digital marketing, has required us to recruit people from outside of Ludington and bring them here. So the challenge of having this beautiful environment that we all live in and getting the right talent here is one that we have to continuously focus on.
And from that first or second board meeting to now, do you feel like you were able to accomplish every one of those goals that you set out?
I believe so. I think that Lee Shaner, who's a tremendous owner and chairman of our board, has been highly supportive of our initiatives. We brought in a 3-year strategic planning process, which has allowed us to lay out the investments that we need over a long period of time. Steve has been an unbelievably great partner in terms of executing these visions. And I will tell you, I'm not leaving Ludington. I am remaining, and I will remain a member of the board to help see all of these great initiatives take flight, and also to see new ones that we haven't even considered yet.
And we did receive a quote. You'd mentioned Lee, and this is what he said about you. I don't know if you've read this yet, but he says the last 7 years under Eric's leadership has been a tremendous period of innovation and expansion. He went on to say Eric's impact on our community has been profound, and I thank him for his dedication and passion he shared with all of us during his time as our CEO. His transformational leadership has helped us grow in modern, efficient, and forward-thinking company that we are today. When you hear those words, does that kind of mold with what you expected on day number one?
Lee is incredibly generous in everything, including his praise, and I can't thank him enough for his mentorship and what he brings to this community. Keeping FloraCraft an independent and local business is one of his top goals, and I know that the team and the board is committed to that, and I look forward to seeing FloraCraft prosper for many years to come.
What does retirement look like for you? You mentioned you're going to be on the board, but and stay in the community. But I guess it's a two-part question, if you don't mind. What does life look like for you? And the second is why stay in Ludington? And there's nothing wrong with that decision, but why?
Well, I don't have to tell anybody who lives in Ludington that Ludington is one of the beautiful places to be in the entire country, and the people are incredibly welcoming, and the culture here is outstanding. My wife and I have got 5 kids spread across the country and a number of grandkids, and there's additional grandkids on their way. So we bought a Sprinter van. And I don't know if this was a dream I had watching van life during the pandemic, but here we are several years away from that. But I still want to sort of take a leisurely trek across the country, see the America I haven't had a chance to see, visit the grandkids, visit the kids, and we will be doing that from, I think, November through April, and then returning here and enjoying the fabulous sites and activities that Ludington has to offer.
All right, looking forward to that. There's some highlights, if you don't mind, and I appreciate your team from your public relations and marketing team sending some details over to us. They do a phenomenal job, but they wanted to list a few bullet points, and you've talked a little bit about them. But for those listening to this segment, and we're talking with Eric Erwin, former president of FloraCraft, and as well Steve Carlson, named president and CEO moving forward. And Steve, we're going to put you on the hot seat here in a moment. But the highlights of Eric's career at FloraCraft, bringing to market foam with PolyRenew. They say the world's first floral and craft foam made with post-consumer material. So recycling was a big part of your initiative. Let's stop there for a moment. And a lot of people feel like foam in general, it's hard to once it's created. What do you do when it comes to the environment? But that was big on your shoulders to make sure that this was part of your vision.
Yeah, no, thank you for asking about that, Chris. This is one of our key pillars, and we know that as a plastics manufacturer, we really have to be focused in terms of reducing our carbon footprint. What we did in terms of PolyRenew, which is show the world and the market that basically we can make it economically viable to recycle plastics and convert them back into a useful product. And remember, this is polystyrene, which is not put in your blue bin currently in terms of recycling, but we're consuming roughly nearly 100% of the available polystyrene in the recycled market to manufacture our foam. So the issues around reducing our carbon footprint extends just beyond what we do in plastics. We have innovation and research that's going on in terms of our blowing agents, and even though we're way below the greenhouse gas emissions standards, we want to get to zero. And in terms of Recycling, we want to get to 100% of post-consumer plastics in our right, and that also goes to agricultural
Sorry about
topics.
our dog back there.
Right, all right. We sell decorative straw throughout America. We're the number one marketer of decorative straw, and even in conservation agriculture, we want to make sure that we're providing the best practices. As a manufacturer of plastics, is this the right thing to do? Is that we have to be a leader in terms of these initiatives, and we know that we are.
And we also talked a few moments ago about that leading the vertical integration. That has been crucially important. But that also says a lot about job stability by going down that road, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think that we've probably added 50 full-time employees in the course of the last 7 years here in Ludington, and these are good paying full benefit jobs. The difference is we used to have to flex up nearly 150 temporary workers. It would take our total workforce up to 350 during key spike times of demand. Instead, and this is really through Steve's fabulous leadership, we've added automation that has allowed us to level load that production so that we can basically manufacture the right amount of products at the right time, when we need it, how our customers need it, with a stable workforce. So adding 50 full-paid jobs has been great because it's been highly productive and very profitable for us as well.
And the community appreciates you for that, obviously, both of you, for doing that. Expanding the FloraCraft campus, we mentioned that by 200,000 square foot. That is part of what we just talked about with those additional bullet points, is being able to expand, employ more, and put everything in-house, right?
That's absolutely correct. And for those of you who have never been on our campus, I'll tell you that the original building was probably built in the mid to late 1800s. But what we've been able to do in terms of the expansion from an acquisition we made of Straight Steel, which is to the south of our campus, is to add a really modern and efficient manufacturing facility. What we've done in terms of robotics, automation, has really allowed us to grow the business without increasing a tremendous amount of headcount, but still provide long-term jobs for Ludington residents.
Absolutely, and it's good to see growth in the area, especially post-COVID there. And then enhancing the team culture, with any work environment, especially manufacturing, it can weigh on employees, right? It can weigh on the environment of we want people to be excited to come to work, and at the end of the day, feel like they have accomplished a lot, and that was part of your vision too.
Oh, that's a really good point. I mean, we've always been a safe and secure place to work. I don't think we've ever had a layoff in terms of permanent employees based on economic downturns, and certainly safety is the number one thing that we think about every single day. But where we've been able to sort of elevate the company's culture is creating an environment of success. I can tell you it's nothing more satisfying to see people who have been elevated to top level positions who've started here, and we've got many of them who started in positions right out of high school. They're now leading the company. So that idea of creating a culture where you can succeed based on your efforts is something that has really, really mattered to us.
Absolutely. If you're just joining us, we're talking with Eric Erwin, former president of FloraCraft this morning, and as well Steve Carlson, the new president, just announced that's taking over the helm here. Before I transition, Eric, what would you say about Steve? What is your words and thoughts about him?
I've worked in this business for over 40 years, and I got to tell you that working with Steve has been one of the truly great privileges of my career. He is one of the smartest people I've ever met, with incredible EQ in terms of understanding his people. It is with a great honor that I've helped select Steve as part of the general succession plan, and I am absolutely convinced that he's going to lead FloraCraft in continuous growth for many years to come. So I am pleased as my partner for the last 7 years. We finish each other's sentences. We are absolutely in sync, and I'm tremendously proud of where he's going to take this business.
And we appreciate you saying that. I would assume, Steve, that you appreciate Eric and his guidance. And what's that been like over the last 7 years that the two of you have been working together?
Yeah, it's been a wonderful experience for me. And when Eric came into the organization 7 years ago, of course he came from an outside business. And that's always a little bit intimidating for those of us that have been in that business for a long time. But it was really clear from the real start that Eric was going to bring some really positive change to FloraCraft. And in fact, he's really done that, and I've enjoyed my time. Just what he said, we've been kind of visioning the future together now for several years. I think we've really been great partners. I'm very grateful that he's going to stay on the board and continue to be a mentor to me as we move along. And he's going to be really sorely missed at FloraCraft.
Absolutely, and it's good to see a great transition in regards to this position. I mean, that's the highest position there as president before the board. But Steve, you're not shy from leading former president of the Ludington and Scottville Chamber of Commerce, current board president of the Ludington area schools. And you're going to continue that and as well be president. Does that future is that going to be something that you see as part of your future, both positions?
Well, certainly with the school board, I've got 3 years left before I come up again for re-election, and I haven't made a decision on that yet. But I certainly am going to stay in that position at least through this term. I very much enjoy that, and in terms of getting ready, I feel like I've been prepared for the position at FloraCraft for a long time, and I've got a great support structure. And to Eric's point, we've worked really hard the last 5 or 7 years to put together a great team. So I feel completely surrounded by true professionals who are all going to make and elevate us to succeed. And we're in good hands, so I feel good about doing both of those positions. Well,
and you'd mentioned that the longevity of you being with the company, and I don't know how many people know this, but you and your dad, this was what you were doing before being acquired by FloraCraft back in the day, right?
We had a little business, a small business in Iowa, and it was a container business, and FloraCraft offered to purchase that business back in 1989. So it wasn't sure what my future was at that point, and shortly after that acquisition, Lee Shaner offered me the position with FloraCraft. So I was super excited. I still remember telling Andrea that Ludington had a lighthouse. My wife, she was super excited about that. She'd move anywhere that had a lighthouse.
That's cool.
So we made our new home here in spring of 2000, and of course we just have been so integrated in the community. We love Ludington. We love the lifestyle here, and I can't imagine having raised my kids anywhere else.
Lee, you brought up Lee, and here's what he had to say about you as well. He said, "I feel incredibly." No, this was Eric. Eric mentioned this, but I think we do have a quote from Lee here. Okay, here we go. Let's see. And sorry about that. Actually, Eric had said something, but Steve has played a critical role in developing our manufacturing over the past several years, and knows our business inside and out. He's developed within FloraCraft and incredibly confident in his ability to push us forward for another exciting chapter in the company. What does that next chapter look like, Steve? What is, because Eric had mentioned just a few minutes ago that when he sat down with the board for the first time, that was his vision, to do this, this, and this. Do you have that set yet?
We do. I feel really good about the vision that we've lined for the next, particularly next 3 years. It's kind of hard to see 5 years out, but we've decided that we really want to continue to strengthen our manufacturing in Ludington. We want to be part of the community. We want to be a big part of the future of Ludington, and so we're going to continue to make investments here in this community. And we're going to have an announcement in 2024 about some new manufacturing that we're bringing to our campus. We're really excited about that announcement. We're not quite ready to take the lid off of that quite yet, but that's going to bring us to a little bit of a new chapter and some products that we're having made in different locations right now. And then beyond that, we're already looking at the thing right after that. So we're really excited about the next 3 years.
And some people will ask in regards to small town manufacturing. And can it be sustained in an area like this as you grow, as you expand, as you add additional product lines? What's your response to them?
Well, first of all, I mean, we've been in business for 77 years right now, so we've certainly sustained that manufacturing through all kinds of different economic cycles, through different iterations of the business. I think the bigger question that you're asking is, in a resort town, how hard is it to bring manufacturing personnel into the community?
Good point.
And I would say that is one of the challenges that I know you've had other guests on this show talking about. But affordable housing and the ability for employees to be able to find the kind of housing that they need to work in a plant like ours, I think is going to be a big issue going forward.
Do you have input in regards to that? Do you have, obviously as a major employer here, you have to, but any sort of thoughts in regards to that?
Well, we just continue to work with our community partners, try to be part of that conversation, try to elevate that. We have to bring in some of our manufacturing employees. They live in Ludington, but they also live in the rural community around Ludington. And that's one of the reasons why Eric made a point about us trying to be a little bit less reliant on temporary labor, doing that through automation, doing that through becoming more efficient. So going forward, we're hoping that we can make some investments that'll allow us to continue to operate in an environment where perhaps finding labor at the same rate of our growth is going to be a little bit harder to do in the future.
All right. Before we wrap up this morning, and we appreciate both of you coming in. If for the listeners, if they have just joined us, you'll be able to watch this segment in its entirety on our Facebook page and our YouTube channel. But Steve, two-part question for you. The first is, what is it from your standpoint to be able to work at FloraCraft? And the second part of that question is, what is your message now as you take the helm to your fellow coworkers?
Yeah, well, I mean, I couldn't be more honored to be, given this position of president and CEO. This is a great business, and always has been. It's very dear to my heart. We feel very fortunate, very lucky to have had the opportunity to live in this community, to work at a great, private employer, to work next to Lee and his wife Joan and kids Andrea and Erica. It's been a great honor of mine, and I just hope to be able to, keep this great story moving forward. And I hope that, at the end of my career, just like Eric, I hope I can look back with the same kind of feeling of pride about the success of where we've moved the business. And I just want to keep the great things that we're doing right now, just keep them moving forward. There's not going to be any big, changes or 90-degree turns here. That's the great thing about, not having somebody come in from the outside, but we're just going to keep this plan that we've been working on together, and we're going to keep it moving forward.
All right. Looking forward to that, and looking forward to that big announcement next year. So good to see that you're continuing to look forward. And Eric, I'll leave the last response to you this morning. What's your message now to the staff, to the community, as you now enter retirement?
Well, I have certain principles that I know that the staff has gotten tired of hearing. Okay, make sure that you collaborate and communicate. Make sure you get along. Make sure that you're sharing unfinished work. And remember, good ideas come from anywhere. And if we bring those together as a team, we are unstoppable. And the fact is, and Steve mentioned it in terms of our labor force, we've added some really terrific thought leadership roles here as well, where we've recruited people who grew up in Ludington, went off, got other experiences, and came back and are really adding to the growth of our business. And it's one of the reasons why we believe that we can remain independent and here in Ludington for years to come.
All right. Looking forward to that. Eric Erwin, thank you for taking some time with us this morning, and congratulations on all that you've achieved. Mitch Foster, city manager, just drove by and gave us a honk. So I would assume he agrees with that statement as well. So thank you for all that you've done.
Thank you, Chris.
Absolutely. And Steve, thank you for taking over as president and CEO of FloraCraft, and we look forward to connecting with you in the future and all that you're able to achieve. And same conversation years to come in regards to when you decide to do the same thing, and we're able to share your achievements as well. So thank you for coming in.
By then, Eric can sell me his Sprinter van because I'm tired of it.
Absolutely. What do you think of that? Yeah, when you're done, just
possible.
Okay, there you go. Well, we appreciate it. Thank you for coming in this morning. It is now 8:10. Stand by, both of you, if you don't mind, as we send our country station back to the news and weather at the top of the hour here. And stick around as well on Mom FM. Same thing, news and weather coming your way in just a matter of seconds here on Hot Country Hits 99.9, home of your new country and your all-time favorites. And for us here on 102.7 WMOM, we've got great music on the way this hour. Ed Sheeran. But again, news, weather, and we've got rain in the forecast, so we'll tell you all about that coming up next. On 102.7, it is Mom FM.
Thanks for making us number one. I'm proud to be awarded